What you doing?
Ran out of space on my phone, so I'm deleting some stuff. Bye, singing dog. Bye, goal.
I pronounce you.
Bye, wedding ceremony.
Stop. At Metro PCS, you get 2 free phones with twice as much memory.
Really?
Don't say bye to your memories. Switch to Metro PCS and get 2 free LG K20 Plus phones with 32 gigs when you switch 2 lines. Metro PCS. Wireless. Figured out. Coverage not available in some areas. Sales tax not included in phone price. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions.
Blog Talk Radio.
Do you ever get that weird premonition that it's like Wednesday, but you're actually thinking it's like Friday? That's probably because I'm only 3 or 4 or 6 days ahead of myself. Hi, everybody. I'm so excited that we are hosting. Oh, this woman is phenomenal. I can't even wait to get her on the airlines. Airlines, okay? Look at this. And this is without any coffee in the last hour. I'm just ridiculous. Helen Hipp is visiting our show today. For those of you that don't know who she is, not only is she an author and a mother, but a very eclectic, very interesting individual. Further, she is also a life coach, which I'm interested about because, frankly, I'm not going to lie to you, I don't know a whole heck of a lot about being a life coach. So it should be interesting to be hosting her today. I know that she's on hold, so we'll make this very short and sweet. We don't want to keep her holding too long. Tomorrow, I want to remind everybody that I'm going to be on air at 5:30 Central Standard Time tomorrow. We're going to be hosting an individual by the name of Meredith Grace Puckett. What's really neat about Meredith is that she is a younger lady. She's 13 years old. She's been spending her time and her talents in the right place. Turns out she did a cover of the Adele song "Rolling in the Deep." Turns out it got over 20 million views, and now she's become a sensation across the country. So I'm really super excited to pick the mind of youth, let's say. So really, really excited. And then Friday, of course, we're rounding out our shows with 12:30 Central Standard Time, and that's going to be Jackie Rosenhandler, the individual that happened to, we had this terrible miscommunication yesterday, and so she's a lovely Australian entrepreneur, and she's got 2 different types of brands on the market, food brands that I'm excited to talk to you about. So without further ado, Helen's been gracious enough to hold for us, so let's get her on the line and start talking. Hi, Helen. Oh, no. Hello? Okay, well, let's try this again. Hopefully, with any luck at all, we'll get an opportunity to, great. Now, we've lost the call, unfortunately. We were about to connect Helen, so hopefully, with any luck at all, she'll give us a call right back. So as I was mentioning, so, of course, Meredith's show is going to be tomorrow at 5:30 Central Standard Time. And then, of course, the next day, which, of course, is Friday, the next day, 12:30 Central Standard Time, Jackie Rosenhandler. What's neat, like I said about her, is not only is she Australian, but she's a younger lady. I mean, we're talking maybe 30 years old. She has this resilience and this spirit and this energy to her that's just absolutely phenomenal. I love the fact that she's self-made, meaning that she's created herself into something new and interesting. Granted, I will give you that she's had some help, but who hasn't? Let's get real. I mean, I did not get to doing radio by myself. I was, encouraged by someone else. And slowly but surely, with any luck at all, here we are now on the air, 4 years, almost 5 years later, as a matter of fact, interviewing all sorts of different people. So sometimes it never hurts to get that little nudge up in terms of being able to get some help as far as that goes. I find that to be a neat and interesting way to do business. And nowadays, especially with the New York City market, it's tough to get a product out there that's going to have longevity, that people are going to like, that they're going to be responsive to. So kudos to her on that. And she's built her business over the last couple of years now, and we'll get an opportunity, hopefully, to find out about that some more on Friday. So without further ado, we're going to try to get Helen on the line again. Let's see. Hopefully it will work this time. Good afternoon, Helen.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, wonderful. Except before I start you, because I'm having a hard time with hearing you, there seems to be some background noise. I wonder, can you hang up and call me back again? We'll see if we can try to get it without this interference.
Sure. I will.
I'd appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Sorry about that, folks. That happens sometimes where we have this issue where we have people that call in and sometimes they have a problem with that, like I'll hear noise but they won't, or vice versa and stuff. So we want to make sure that we're able to hear everything that Helen's got to say, because she has a lot of wisdom and a lot of things to share with us, and I would hate to have you guys listen in and not be able to hear what she's communicating with us about. So just to give a small background before she gets on here, as I said, she originally started out she did her first book, and there's 2 different kinds of books we're going to talk about. A Different Kind of Safari is the first one, which was launched in March of 2013. And then very recently, Rosie and Friends, Positively Different, was launched actually in August of 2016. I don't want to forget, since we are starting out, and I always like to make a mention of this, Valerie Pierre-Cadet, thank you so much. The social media group, thank you. You bring me some of these wonderful clients, and I'm so very appreciative of the time and the trouble you take to try to orchestrate radio shows with myself. She's one of the newer publicists that we drew a true joy, very sweet, very diligent, and like I said, her clients are absolutely amazing individuals who have done amazing things. So I'm always so very proud to be able to spotlight them on my show. So Valerie, once again, I want to say thanks so much for all the work that you do. And, of course, obviously, for those of you who happen to or might be wanting to get a publicist, Valerie works with the actual group called Social Minded Media Group is what it's called. You can find her on Facebook, and she's also a New Yorker as well. So we all know how much I love my native New Yorkers. So without further ado, let's try this for the third time and see if we can get Helen on. Hi, Helen.
Hi, can you hear me now?
You can hear me. Yes, I think we're finally connecting. Hi. I'm so glad that we,
Hi.
I was getting nervous there. I'm like, oh my God, here she is. And now she's gone. Now she's back. And then I'm like, oh my God, there's all this noise. So please don't go anywhere. I mean, please don't, because there's so much to talk about. I was like, if she goes away, I'll have nothing to talk about. And then I had to pretend that I was you. And I can't do that because you're too amazing. And I'm not. So I'm like, oh my God. So welcome to the show. I was just talking about Valerie. I was saying, hey, if it wasn't for Valerie, we wouldn't be connecting. So I was giving her a great big thank you.
Yeah,
she is awesome.
She's wonderful.
Isn't she lovely? Right?
She's
smart.
she's wonderful, and Stephanie is fabulous. I mean, Social Minded is great. They are great.
Exactly. We're tooting the horn of that. Social Minded Media Group, like I just said 5 minutes ago, so let's do it one more time. I'm big on promotion in this thing. I like to promote anyone and everything. It's exciting. Well, and I love having fellow authors on the show.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's great. It's great to promote a wonderful service because that's what everybody's looking for. So it's great.
Amen. You betcha. You betcha. I should probably be talking to them about promotion. I don't have time, unfortunately. I have to do radio shows where I have to interview amazing people. I think that's a little important. So here we are. There's so much to talk about with you because you're fabulous. I've been literally stalking you on all sorts of social mediums and getting all sorts of information about you. So I'm hoping to introduce the audience to some new things about you, some old things about you, with any luck at all. Biggest things that I think we should talk about, because in my family, I have a nephew actually who suffers from autism, and I think that it's a very important thing to talk about. So let's begin, if you don't mind, giving us a little bit of background in terms of your own son, and share a little bit with us about your journey and how it's been.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I have a son now in his 30s, which I can't believe. And,
oh, my goodness.
Yeah. And he was diagnosed with Asperger's, but not in the beginning because Asperger's wasn't recognized back then. So one event that took place that really seemed to put everything in motion was I had taken my son to New York to a hospital there that is very well known, and he saw a battery of specialists. And basically, when it came time to share the prognosis, the doctor said to me, we'd like to know what you've been doing with your son. And I kind of went, okay. And so I explained to him that my son, I never believed he couldn't learn. I just thought that he spoke a different language. So at times I had to teach him things 50 times or more, till I could figure out what the language was and make that communication.
Sure.
And so I just said, yeah, I've never thought that my son can learn. And he said, and this is verbatim because I will never forget it, he said, your child is functioning beyond his capabilities. And I thought, oh my gosh. So there I was in the doctor's office, and I just felt like a bucket of cold water had been thrown over me. And I thought about that statement, and I started to get angry because I realized that what they were saying was, your child is functioning beyond what the medical community thinks he will ever be able to do. And I thought, who the heck are you to define my son's potential?
Correct.
So that fueled me. That really fuels me. And everybody that worked with my son believed in him, or they didn't work with him. And I really started thinking about that, and I was grateful for the diagnosis. I'm not saying that these doctors were bad or anything. It was just part of the times. And a diagnosis is meant to provide you with assistance. It's not meant to define your potential. And I guess that was the biggest gift. And ever since then, we've been moving together as mother and son, and I have a daughter as well. And Raymond has done incredible things along the way, and he continues to. He's amazing.
Sure.
And so many other children are amazing. And so I've just wanted to support and encourage parents, children, and that's kind of been the fuel that I've been running on for years.
Oh my gosh, no kidding. I totally get that. I said one of the reasons that I was encouraged to interview you, because most of my fans and followers know this, that my son up until probably 3.5 months ago, was a seizure patient for 3 years.
Sure.
And so, it alters, I think, any kind of serious illness that your child encounters, especially when they're younger. My son was like, let's see, what is he now? He's 12, so he was about 8 or 9 years old when he got a diagnosis. So he was a little younger, on the younger side. It's always a bit of a shock, I think. And I guess one of the things that I wanted to ask you is, because obviously you've chosen a creative outlet amongst other things to handle and deal with that sort of thing. What would you encourage parents or individuals that are listening in that might have those challenges at home? I have a dear friend now who has a very sick child. I can't figure out what's wrong with her, and it's maddening and it's frustrating. What are some of the things that have helped you to hold on to your sanity, both mentally, physically, and otherwise? What made you not give up and just say, I can't do this?
Well, I think when you're in a situation like this, you find your strength and you choose to hang on. Not to say there aren't moments where you definitely want to give up, but here's one thing I would really encourage parents to think about. Please be kind to yourself. Please give yourself permission to be mad and angry. And if you have thoughts that might be along the lines of, boy, I wish I didn't have to deal with this, or boy, I wish my children didn't have these issues, don't beat yourself up. It's natural. You cannot take care of somebody else without taking care of yourself, and beating yourself up is not doing that. So please, please, please be kind to yourself and talk about these things. If you have a spouse, talk about them with your spouse. Get it out there, process it. Don't stuff it, because it's not going to go away.
Right.
And this is something that not only affects you and your child, but if you have other siblings, it affects the other child as well. Take time out to be with them and take time out for yourself. It's a hardship, but it also can be a blessing.
Sure.
A lot of it has to do with just the practical everyday challenges, but some of it has to do with the lens in which you look through.
Very good point.
And there's no magic piece of information that I can provide that'll make it easier for you,
sure,
or anybody else. But the one thing that I did is I got creative, and I found that if I didn't isolate myself or the issue or anything, and I talked to other people, I found other people that were experiencing similar things. So it organically created a support system. If somebody needed help or there was an emergency at the school, then you have somebody who understands and who might be able to support you, and you support them. That's a wonderful thing. So if there aren't resources available within your community, think about, are there ways to create those resources for myself? And that is and can be a really wonderful piece, because you start connecting and you start creating a resource that supports you, supports your child.
Right. Correct.
Everybody involved. It's terribly, terribly difficult, and I know I'm not saying anything parents don't already know and realize and experience firsthand.
Right.
But you can get through it. I mean, I remember when my son was very young, he was nonverbal, and he had head banging issues. And I was starting with sign language, and I was told to do things that I couldn't do. One of which was when my child started head banging, to slap him. I did that once, and I broke into tears. I thought, this makes no sense.
Sure.
Makes no sense, and it just tore my heart out.
Oh my goodness.
You know, as a parent, you know a lot. It's hard to trust yourself sometimes. I get that. And it's important to talk to the professionals. But understand something. You are a professional. Nobody knows your child better than you do.
I agree, 150%. Definitely.
So trust yourself and know that you are going to make mistakes. But when you're trying to do the best for your child, there's no way that can be a mistake. It just can't.
Right. No, I totally agree with you. And I love, like I said, the fact that you've garnered this creativity. Another thing my son did, he, of course, did his own thing and decided to create something on his own from that perspective to try to deal with that, with his issues. And I'm a huge proponent for that. I think that any and all positives that you can bring out of a negative cannot hurt anyone in that equation, whether it's the parent, whether it's the child. It's a cumulative effort, and I think it's very healing therapy, very, very much so. I was very interested to see, because not only do I know that you're right, but you also paint. So I was like, oh, my God, when did she start painting? Because I wanted to paint myself. I can't do it. I just can't. I'm inept.
Oh, I'm horrible. Okay. I'm horrible. My mother, I'm absolutely horrible. I started painting, and then I had my cell phone with me, so I took a picture of this little flower that I was trying to paint, and I sent it to my mother because she is the artist. And she said, "Oh, Henny, that's really good." And I thought, "Oh, Mom, you are such a mom." But it was really, really sweet, and I just love doing it. And I don't do it with the idea of becoming, some big artist, but it's just really fun because I'm looking at something that, to my eyes, is incredibly beautiful. And I think just sitting and doing that is a wonderful thing. Really
definitely
can help ground you, and it reminds you that sometimes the things that you get wrapped up in really are little things.
Oh, I agree with you 150%. My God. And those distractions are nice, though, like having hobbies or interests and things like that. I saw, of course, I literally saw on social media that you enjoy riding horses, of course, horseback riding, which I've done for myself. Oh, what's up with the backgammon? I'm like, I still can't see this woman playing backgammon, right? I mean, if you looked at this woman, take a look at Helen Hipp and try telling me she can play backgammon. I'm not picturing that. Sorry. If you enjoy it, that's great, but apparently you're avid with this, right? This is like a big thing.
My father loved to play backgammon, and he thought it was just a really good exercise in life, and it kind of is if you think about it when you play, because most of the time that when you lose backgammon, it's because the two pieces that are farthest that you need to get around the board, you kind of don't want to move unless you get a really good roll. So you stay there and stay there and stay there. Well, if you don't take a risk, you may never find reward. So it's
very well put.
So there is a correlation. I guess the wisdom of my father came out there. But I love playing, and it's great, and I love horseback riding and snorkeling and doing a whole bunch of things. And I jumped out of a plane on my 50th birthday because I wanted to set the stage.
How exciting!
Yeah. Oh, it was.
You weren't petrified, like I'm screaming and I'm going to die? I mean, that didn't happen?
No, it was really funny because my family said, yeah, go ahead. My friend said, oh, Helen, don't do that. You can get hurt.
Right? You could die or, I don't know, other things?
Well, I thought if I die, I'm not going to be bothered by it. And if I make it, there really is no reason. So,
Oh, my gosh. That's too funny. Oh, neat.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like that, though.
Yeah.
You have a sense of adventure. That's important to keep that. I think that's awesome. See, we like that.
Oh, it is.
Definitely.
Yes, it is.
Now,
it definitely is.
I want to ask a question because I know that I know obviously now you live in Vermont, but you actually were born in Yonkers, which is in New York City. Now, I've been asking everybody who comes on my show this because I'm from Wisconsin. I live in Wisconsin here, but the transition when my kids are grown in about 7 years, I'm going to be a New Yorker for good. I'm going to live out the rest of my life in New York City. So I've been asking everybody who comes from there, okay, so I guess I'm a little delusional in thinking that it's not going to be that expensive to live there. Apparently, I was informed last week that, yes, it is that expensive. So I just keep asking people for little tips when they come on. Like, I know that Yonkers isn't like Manhattan, of course, so I'm guessing that, is that upstate New York, or where's that location to
You know what? I don't really know because I was pretty much, I was maybe
you were young.
Young.
Well,
and
I guess 2-year-old's not going to help me there.
So I wasn't shopping at that point or paying bills.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. Do you go back and visit at all? Or, are you even I know.
Am I a city bug? No, I'm kind of more of a country girl. But I did go back to New York in November because my mom went there and she loves going to museums. So we went to not every single museum in New York, but we certainly did cover quite a few. And that's fun. But for me and my lifestyle, I don't think a city is the best match.
I understand. Well, plus you're so busy too. Obviously, of course, I just keep asking people, and I'm like, eventually they'll let me know, some of the tricks of the trade in terms of living there. And 7 years may seem like a long time, but it's not. Apparently, I'm going to go broke living there, so I guess I better start saving like yesterday. I'm a little nervous about this, but we'll see. Now, there's two different sides of you, actually more than two, but we'll start off talking about, I saw this really neat thing on something relative to you in social media, which is uniqueness is not a weakness. And I thought this is such a kick-butt saying. That's awesome. Did you come up with that saying yourself? Because, it's a beautifully written phrase. I couldn't agree more with that in terms of that.
Yeah, I did. I thought it was something that could really encourage discussion points, and it was the message that really Rosie wanted to put out there because, yes, she is a character in a book, but she really has taken on her own persona. And this is really more about an expression of her voice.
Okay. My question for Rosie, or should I say about Rosie, is I can guess.
Either way.
I can guess that you picked Rosie the Hippo because it has your name in it, or did you just pick Rosie the Hippo because you like hippos? I was just curious if there was a connection there.
Oh, no. Rosie got her name because my son, myself, and other family members were in Africa on safari.
Okay.
And when we were there, we saw a pod of hippos, which is expected. But what was unexpected was one was pink, and she stood on the outside of the pod. And we had asked our guide why that was, and he said she was tolerated but not necessarily accepted by the herd because of her differences. In that moment, my son named her Rosie. And so she has been Rosie the Pink Hippo, and she, inside the book, is a picture of the real Rosie. But she is a real live pink hippo, and she was treated differently because she wasn't gray like everybody else. And I thought, well, this is something that my son can relate to. These two creatures, one human, two-legged, and another four-legged, from different sides of the world, come together and they share peace. How wonderful is that? So that was the beginning of the adventure, in that I started writing this book in my head, and then eventually put out the first book, which was entitled A Different Kind of Safari. And that book is for kids that are 8, 9, and up.
Right.
And then I was encouraged to write a series for younger kids. And so now the first book in the series, Rosie and Friends Positively Different, is out. And you'll see on the front cover it has a Rosie Adventure stamp. That's for the books that are in the series. And right now I'm working on the second one, which should be out in the fall.
Oh, how exciting. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, because I had known about A Different Kind of Safari, and, of course, obviously the last one, Rosie and Friends Positively Different. August of 2016 was the last one.
Yeah.
Now, what I thought was neat was the first book, of course, is obviously we have a boy that's in the book who has autism, and he's trying to deal with how his differences vary from other individuals, etc. And now I know it's been named one of the top 10 great books on autism. Now, how does that feel, talking about something that affects your family, and having somebody recognize that in such a big way? What did that mean to you and your family?
Well, I was very surprised, but
really?
I guess more than any, well, yeah, I guess, because I know the power behind the story, and I believed in it. That's not what surprised me. It was just, I guess, a nice surprise to see that it had been equally as meaningful to others. And that is really my motivation for these books, putting them out there. I want to get them in the schools. I want to get them to families. I mean, the first book was really about celebrating differences. And the first book in the series is about helping kids see themselves as positively different. And these are the pieces that I want to share. I want to help kids see themselves as their best self. And Rosie works very hard to help kids. And there are other characters that are coming to light that are also part of Rosie's Safari family. So it's fun.
Oh, I bet it is.
Fun.
My goodness.
Yeah, I have a ball writing it. I really, really do. I wake up in the morning. It's the first thing I want to do.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. I love that. Now, I noticed that, obviously, I wasn't clear about this because, of course, A Different Kind of Safari was out in March of 2013. Now, I'm assuming that you had done promotion on that because there's like a 3-year gap between the two. Now, did you publish more in between time there? Or was it just that book and then the Rosie and Fred?
I had been working on something different, a journal for adults, but my father passed at the end of certain. Well, no, it really was okay because he was suffering from Alzheimer's. So this put him to rest. So there was a lot I had to, family stuff around that, but also. I never saw myself as an author, to be quite honest. This kind of just happened. And so there was a lot of time where the first book was not promoted as well because it was my first. I really didn't know what I was doing. But the Rosie and Friends is a very different story because there's a long-term plan, and there are people in place that have really been helpful in marketing it. But I have to say, even though I didn't market the first book well, on Amazon it has over 42 testimonials. And some of them have actually made me cry because they've meant so much to people. And that to me is just such a reward. I can't even tell you.
Oh, I can imagine. My goodness gracious. Well, and the thing, too, is like I said, here you are. You've got this top 10 honor in terms of that particular book. You have an audience where people are coming to see you. For instance, I know it wasn't so long ago. Now, this was end of November, actually, beginning of December. You did a virtual book tour, as I recall.
Yes.
Now, talk to the folks a little bit about that, because obviously most people, even those that are writers, don't necessarily get to do things like this. So talk a little bit about the exciting part of doing a virtual book tour and how did it fare and how did people respond to it?
I think it went pretty well. It's kind of a foreign venue for me.
Really?
I personally I enjoyed it, but I really would like to do more presentations where I'm face to face with people, so I can answer their questions, and we can have that face to face connection that's so unique and special.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I am spending a lot of time scheduling with schools, which is great, because I would love to do a lot of the activities with the kids.
Oh, neat.
But I have to say the virtual book tour was great. It just doesn't allow me to do those types of things.
No, I understand. I do. Because I know I have notes here. I know that back in 2014, you were in Las Vegas. You actually did the ALA conference for the first book, A Different Kind of Safari. Now, that must have been an interesting thing for you, too, because that's a conference. You're meeting thousands of people all at once, right? If I understand that correctly, how that goes.
Well, actually, I did not have to be present for that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I mean, I would love to be. Are you kidding? I would love to be if I could.
I said
and it just means that I have more opportunities to do things that I've never done before, and that would be one of them.
I gotcha.
Yeah. So I would love to do that. That would be great. And I really do invite people to contact me, because not only would I love to do presentations, but I would love to come out and just enjoy a conversation with people and go through the books.
Right. That's one of the things that I wanted to ask you about, is if you do things like such as, for instance, here in the Midwest. It's not uncommon at all for authors, and especially the children's realm, to do the circuit with libraries or book clubs and things like that. Have you been involved in that sort of venture before?
We are getting more involved in those ventures. I have only been working with Valerie since November, and we put together a lot of things. But I know in the coming years, coming months, there are a lot of events. I just don't know what they are.
Okay, that's fine. I was just curious, because that dawned on me. I was like, oh, she'd be perfect, like in a library or at a writer's club, or you know what I mean? Or even, well, I like the wine and rights myself, because I'm not going to lie, I'm a wine fan to begin with. So I'm like, you combine two things that I love. You can't don't have to ask me twice. I'll be there. This is more children's content. I know it's a little bit different. But that's why I said that. Or even like a zoo presentation. I know it might sound silly to you, but is it really? No.
Yeah, no. We've actually talked about that a little bit. And another thing that we're looking at is, in the midst of everything, I have reformatted A Different Kind of Safari, the first book, into a play. And that play is available actually on the website. So teachers can download the script and download audio for the play. All they have to do is go on the website, and there is a Rosie Adventure Club. They sign on as members. It's not intrusive. It's just your first name and email. You get sent a password. You punch in the password, and then all of a sudden there are coloring sheets available for their children or themselves. There's a play. There's all these wonderful activities. There's the Rosie song that they can sing along with. There's the Rosie template that they can create their own song. And all of this is available as a resource for teachers, after school programs, a parent. And I would love to hear if somebody has an interest in doing that play. I would love to hear it, because I would love to come out and see it.
Neat.
And that has just become available. And I am going to a school in Vermont on the 23rd, and I'm going to hand them the play and see if they would like to do it. I know there's somebody in Ohio that is hoping to do the play. The script is wonderful, because I actually worked with somebody who she's really a creative editor and has been in the theater, so it's not only just the script as far as the characters and their lines, but it has all the instruction of the vocabulary that you can review with the kids, questions, and all the staging, their suggestions on how to build the necessary props. It's very complete and hopefully very, very simple, so it's easier for the teachers to create kind of an understanding and communication with the kids, when
That's
putting
fine.
on this play. So
I gotcha. Now, I wanted to back up a minute. Now, like, for instance, like my son is 10 years old, and let's say he's on the Internet. Now, if you wanted to sign up for something like that, because, of course, us parents worry about that, is it primarily geared towards, like, caregivers and things like that, or can kids go on there to try to access that club as well?
Oh, they can absolutely access it. There's nothing on there that would be harmful for a kid to read or to do.
Got it. Only because fanatical mothers like me, I'm the first one where I'm like, okay, Tristan, now you gave out your email address and what's going to happen now? Because we live in a society, unfortunately. Well, you know, clearly sometimes things happen and such. So we want to make sure that everybody's assured that, yes, this is a family-friendly application, resource, et cetera, as far as that goes. And I also want to remind folks, because I know you were talking about the schools. Now, January 30th, you're going to be at the Williston Central School. Is that not correct? From 6:30 to 8:30?
Yes.
That's in Vermont as well? Okay.
Yes. That's about 6 miles from where I live. Yeah, and we're very excited about that. Yeah.
Oh, I bet. That's cool. Now, if I have people listening in for Vermont, so let's say they want to bring your children there, what can they expect in that 2-hour program that you're offering on the 30th?
On the 30th, there is a woman that will be there, and she is presenting to adults mindfulness and a bunch of other topics. And it was thought that it would be easier for parents if they could bring their children. And so they asked me if I would step up and be there for the children and read the books and play some games and have some fun. So
how cool.
Yeah, so it's going to be very family friendly, and parents can just say, okay, let's go. You can have some fun with a pink hippo, and I will go listen about mindfulness and learn some things for myself. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And I believe that fun and games, just having a very light, easy, playful, joyful time. There's going to be crayons and coloring and reading and all sorts of things. So I'm looking forward to it.
Now, will they need to, if a parent or an individual listening is interested, is there a pre-registration that's necessary prior to participating? Or?
Just show up. All is welcome.
Awesome.
And I think it's very much an open door policy for everybody.
I like that.
I don't think you have to live in Williston even.
Oh, really? Okay, so you don't need to be a district thing. Okay, because sometimes they get a little weird about that.
I don't think so, but I would encourage them to call the school, because I would hate to say that and then have it be not so.
Right, then they show up and they're like, hey, that lady told me that I could come here, and now I can't anymore. That's okay. I understand, definitely. Just give them a call or look it up on, usually if you look on social media or a website or whatever have you, they usually will put all that pertinent information on there. At least that's what I found, like when it comes to kid activity. And guess what, folks? She must be pretty fantastic, because she also was at Barnes & Noble and made an appearance. I haven't even done Barnes & Noble. Jealous. What was that experience like? Because they're like really formal and serious and stuff. Probably why I don't do that. But what was that like?
Barnes & Noble was great. I've been to the Barnes & Noble in Burlington, in Nashua, and they're both great. So I would say if you're an author, contact them, talk to them. It's a wonderful experience. They're great people, and it's a lot of fun to just meet people that are interested in reading, whether or not your book is something that they want to read. it's just great to meet them. I met a teacher in New York who we chatted for the longest of times, and just so many wonderful people. It's great.
Well, I imagine so. And plus, the experience of doing something like that, people coming together around to talk to you about something you've created, I think that's an extraordinary opportunity in whatever medium it comes in, clearly. That just kind of goes without saying. Definitely.
Absolutely. And can I go back to the school piece for just 1 minute?
Oh, my gosh, yes. You can do whatever you want. It's your show.
Well,
you're the boss.
If somebody wants to attend the Williston event, and they are told they need to be a resident of Williston, contact me and let me know where you live, and we'll see if we can't create a similar event in your area. So if you live in Essex or a surrounding town, and this is something that you would like to see happen in the schools, tell them, contact me, whatever, and we'll see what we can do to make it happen. Because I certainly want to be there for everybody.
Of course, definitely. And you have a resource and you have something that's beneficial to people. In fact, we're just about to talk about that. Obviously, on one side of the fence, you're an author and you're a mom. Obviously, you're a wife, as I understand it. Is that not right?
Yes.
You're married to somebody. So that means hands off, people. If you've been looking at her picture, she's not single. We're just going to clear that up right away. So I'm curious. I have a question about your husband, because here you are, this really super awesome girl, because you have all this experience being a writer and being creative, and, of course, obviously your business, which we'll talk about. So on the flip side of the fence, is your husband in a similar career? Sometimes I find that people usually end up marrying opposites of themselves.
Oh, he's very much an opposite. He's retired right now, but he used to be an engineer. Yeah, he used to be an engineer.
Okay.
And so you can't get more opposite.
That sounds really compatible, doesn't it? Well, that's different, though. I mean, that's different in a cool way. I think you balance yourself out that if you're one way and he's one way, that makes life a little more interesting. At least I think so. And we're also big on the romance factor on the show, so you're going to have to give it up and tell us. So you've been married a long time, so tell us how you met your husband. We've
been together for over 21 years, and we dated for 12 before we got married.
Wow.
And he is a very handsome man. In fact, I will tell you a little story. My sister might kill me, but I'll tell you anyway.
Okay.
Well, I called my sister who lived out in California, and I said, I met this guy, and he's cute, but he's older than I am. And she said, well, how much older? I said, well, it depends on the year, the time of the year. Part of the year he's 15 and a half years older than me, and the other half of the year he's 16. And so eventually she came to visit. And she was in the car with me, and we went over to Walter's, that's my husband's name. And he, at that time, it was summer, and he was wearing a pair of cut-off jeans, shorts. Okay. Okay, and really cut off. And they had a nice hole on the tush, but not too big. Anyway, so she said, oh, my God, who's that handsome man? I said, well, that's Walter. She said, geez, crow, Helen. She said, the way you described him, I thought you were dating Santa Claus.
Oh, my gosh.
So, no, I'm not dating Santa Claus, and no, I didn't marry Santa Claus. But yes, Walter is a very handsome man, and he's a wonderful, wonderful man. He actually built me a barn in our backyard for my horses just by himself.
Oh, that's so sweet. Listen to that. See, there is hope for some of us that aren't married and are single forever.
Yeah.
I like
He's
that.
wonderful.
I like the fact. Well, that poses my next question, which is oftentimes I come to find, and maybe you can concur with this, that some of the best, most productive, most creative, and successful individuals usually have that wonderful, I'm gathering that support system that you have at home is 100% beneficial as it relates to being a success in all your ventures. I'm assuming that he adds and brings something to the table that keeps you passionate and purposeful every day.
Well, yeah, because he's a part of this wonderful life that I'm living, and a very important part. And I think that's always a very valuable contributor. Yeah,
Gotcha.
Pieces.
Without a doubt.
So, yeah.
And it's important to have that if you can get it, of course, certainly. Oh, and I almost forgot to ask about this. So now it was a little unclear. Now, does this mean that you were doing a free book giveaway not so long ago? Is that still going on, or is that ceased now? I wasn't clear about that, so I thought I would ask.
That's done now, but
okay.
I'm sure I will be doing more. And
Sure.
I would say check in on Facebook is a good way to find out when that's going to happen.
Okay.
Rosie's page has a lot of information, and also the website has an events section,
right?
And that will have the information as well. And people can also contact me and say, "Are you having an event, a giveaway soon, or anything like that?"
Sure.
And I'll reply.
Oh yes, of course, and you'll let them know. Obviously, that's awesome,
yeah.
though. I'm glad. Now, on the flip side of the fence, of course, we have to talk about your regular daytime thing, which is Within You Life Coaching, which is a brief description is passion fueled by empathy and encouragement, which I love. It's been a business that you've been running for a little over 9 years now, and I know you focus on a number of different things, more specifically things like cognitive behaviors, solution focus. So I guess a couple questions relative to the business itself. Obviously, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a very smart woman, but I'm pretty book stupid sometimes when it comes to certain subjects. For instance, I've often wondered, okay, I'm going to get a life coach, and I'm thinking, forgive me, but what the hell is a life coach, okay? Because we're all living, we have this life, so I'm like, what the hell is she going to do for me? I'm already living it, and apparently not so well because I'm screwed up a lot. But you know what I mean? Talk to the folks a bit about what it means what is the actual definition of what a life coach does, and then take that a step further and tell us what you as a life coach offers other people.
Okay. Well, before I do that, I will say this morning I just did a Facebook video that explains all of this. It's on the Facebook page, and I apologize. I look a little stiff in the beginning, and there is a blurb at the end. It's live, so everything I kind of mess up is there. But I understand that a lot of people have that confusion and really wonder, how is a life coach different than talking to a friend? And here's what I would say. A life coach, first of all, is not a therapist, okay? And people need to understand there is a distinction there. A life coach works on a level playing field with their client in that they're partners and they work on the goal of the client.
Okay.
Usually a client comes with a goal. Maybe their goal might be, I want my business to grow 20% this year. That's my goal. And that life coach hopefully will be a business life coach, because if you have a goal like that, please look for somebody that focuses on those issues, not just a general life coach.
Sure.
They're going to not only have a discussion with you that explores things, they're going to create with you an action plan. So every time that you're done with a session, you have agreed to do something that is going to move you closer to your goal. So it's not just talk, it's talk and do. And there's an accountability piece here too. Coaching is a service that is meant for people that for some time now they haven't been able to achieve their goal, but they're motivated to achieve it and they are willing to do what it takes to achieve it. They just feel like they need some help. That's the perfect client for a life coach.
Gotcha. Okay, because sometimes we wonder about that, like how do you make a distinction in should I consult a psychologist, a psychiatric individual? There's so many different degrees of help when it comes to who can help me best with what I have going on.
Well, as a psychotherapist as well, I'll use life coaching techniques because they do cross over. There's positive psychology, which has a lot of similarities to life coaching, but it is a different profession in that a life coach can be certified, can be accredited, but they're not regulated. It's not a regulated profession. Okay. Whereas, say a therapist, they're going to have credentials, they're going to be regulated. So there's that difference. Also, life coaching, they do not take insurance either. So that's another practical piece that people need to be aware of.
And like I said, to us lay people, I would have no idea. You know what I mean? I mean, clearly, I understand it. I've heard about it. We've all heard about it. But it is a good practice to try to make a distinction out there, so that this way you know what you're utilizing and how you're utilizing it and such. I know that some of the things that you offer, you do online counseling as well as special needs work. Obviously, you mentioned presentations and life coaching. Out of all those different things you do on this side of the fence, what do you enjoy and what do you find to be most heart beneficial? Meaning that just fulfilled in this. Do you know what I mean? Because you can't say all of them. I'm going to make you pick one.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. So you're going to put me in the doghouse whether I want to be there or not. Okay.
Amen.
I would say that the special needs consulting is very dear to me.
Of course.
Because I see the clients grow and build confidence and go forward into areas that they wouldn't have done otherwise.
Sure.
I mean, it's so many people receive negative or limiting messages. And I'm not saying that they receive them because people are intentionally harming them, but it's very easy to say something that can be interpreted that way.
Oh, I'm sure.
If you gather a bunch of those messages, you begin to believe that this is true. So to help people see that they have potential that they are in charge of, it's really great.
I can imagine. And you know, I love people that have heart-fulfilling jobs, you know, where you go to work and you get paid, but you're not being paid just to, you know, sit at a desk or do whatever. Your contribution is fundamental to the functioning of another human being, which is very important, of course. I also think that it's way cool that you have been contributor to things such as, obviously, it's Washington Family Magazine, is it? Family Works. I know that you also, this is really cool because she at times acts as a special needs consultant for Fox 44 News, which is awesome too, because sometimes they need to consult with individuals who've had experience in this genre and are able to help other people. And I think that's neat that you're able to do that, of course. I know you're a graduate of Johnson State College, which is where you got your MA for counseling. Now, is it your intention, because I just by looking at you, I thought to myself, I wonder if she had the time, or should I say, and the motivation to pursue that all the way, maybe get furthering education, maybe turn your practice into something different over time? Are you expecting it to evolve and kind of formulate into something different, or are you kind of content with where you're at for the moment?
I think I'm really happy with where I'm at. Because I can balance my personal and professional life. I feel like if I did that, then it would be very difficult to do that. And all these pieces are so important to me and demand attention.
Of course. Well, you know, anything that's important to you, you need to make time for, and you need to make it a priority and all that good stuff. And do you find that now that you've been doing this long enough and gotten into this field, looking back on it, would you no regrets, no anything, you wouldn't have done anything differently? Has this changed your perception on the illness that your son has had? Has it made you a different person? We talk about that a lot. Sometimes life in general can make you and envelop you into something so much different than what you used to be. So are you satisfied with the Helen that's here today?
Oh, yeah. I would say I wouldn't change a thing, even those unpleasant things that we all have to go through, because I think they've contributed a lot to where I'm at. They were very valuable. And
I imagine.
Am I a different person than 20 years ago? I would say so. I would also say that life, as it goes on, provides opportunities for greater awareness of who you are and what you want, and all of those wonderful things. And so that's kind of a continual thing that I think is going to either change me or enhance me in some way. That's what I see in the future. I don't know how it's going to happen, when it's going to happen, but I imagine it will.
I understand. Oh, yes. And do we have a tentative idea on, because I know that you're working on other projects in terms of, from a book standpoint, any idea when folks will be able to see something new out of you, or for this particular matter down the road? Obviously, I'm assuming if they keep watching the Facebook page and social media, they'll see further announcements of more events and places that you'll be at, or if they want to come to a live book signing, for instance. Okay. So that's in the works, I would gather, as far as that goes.
Yeah.
And the latest... Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, I'm fine. Go ahead.
They will always be posting all the events on Facebook. Okay. It's probably a good idea also to look on the website as well.
Okay.
Just because it's another billboard, and it might have something on there that hasn't made it onto Facebook yet.
Gotcha.
They can also, if they don't see something that they would like to see, email me. Tell me about it. I'll see what I can do to make it happen. So there's always the opportunity to ask questions and inquire about things.
I like that, definitely. And just to reassure everyone, because I know that one of the things you mentioned that you do is the online counseling, I'm assuming that any information that's shared within a social media content or online, I should say, complete confidentiality, et cetera, because some people, of course, are concerned about the online counseling thing and how safe it is for them. And have you found that it's easier for people to get to you on an online medium versus getting into you in the physical sense, of course, because obviously not all of us are located where you are. Gotcha. So it's a nice medium. It's a nice medium still.
The online counseling, which there's a Facebook page, Within You Life Coaching, WITHIN, the letter U, Life Coaching. Like I said, there's a Facebook video that we just did this morning. There will be more videos coming that will focus in on life coaching and what types of situations a life coach might help with. And if people want to schedule a time to talk to me, I would suggest going to the website and looking up services, because sometimes people don't want to talk for an hour, or they just want to talk to somebody for a few minutes. There are options to do that. And I believe, I don't know if it's happening today or within the next couple of days, there is going to be a calendar, like a schedule up on Facebook that they can schedule an appointment with me.
Oh, nice.
So I would say look for that.
Okay.
And let me know. And there will be times that I am going to either go to a training or on vacation, and I will make sure that I post that up on Facebook so people aren't trying to make appointments and not hearing from me and wondering if I've blown them off, which I certainly don't want anybody to be in that situation.
Well, of course not.
Like that.
You bet. And it's nice to have that. That is just absolutely awesome to have that. Any and all resources. It seems like we live in a day and age now where the easier it is, the more inclined people are to utilize it. You have to make it almost user-friendly to the point where there's very little work involved with it. That's just what I've noticed. The easier that you make it for people, the more willing that they are to participate.
Well, definitely. That's true, but it's also... Yeah, it's also true that there are a lot of people that live in rural areas of the country.
Yes,
and they may not drive. And so I want to support them. I want them to say, hey, I don't have to worry about making another appointment for myself or my child. I can just, it's 8:30 at night, my child's in bed. Boy, I'd really like to talk to somebody for a few minutes. They have that option. So it's really trying to put myself out there in a way that will support a lot of people in a lot of different situations.
I like that, definitely. And I love the fact that you're touching so many lives with all the very, very neat things that you do. Now, I have to go through this very long list. I can't even really, I just said this the other day. Is it just me, or does this hour just go so quickly? Because literally, we've been talking for an hour, and it seems like it just happened, right? Like, it just seems like it just happened. Yeah. I'm like, oh, my God. Okay, now I'm going to read off like about 18,000 things. So you can rest for a moment, and I'm going to read off all the list of the ways that people can find you. And then when I'm done, if I've missed anything, which hopefully I haven't, you can tell me. Okay. So here we go. Of course, this is Helen Hipp, and that's Hipp to those that I haven't made that clear to. So this is a rundown of all the various ways that you can find her and all of her products. 2 different websites, which is rosieTheHippo.com, and it's within you, the letter U, lifecoaching.com. All of her Twitter, Pinterest, SoundCloud, and Instagram are all Rosie the Hippo. On Facebook, she has both a personal page, and the Facebook for Rosie is Rosie the Pink Hippo. On Twitter, 2 different handles, which is at Rosie the Hippo, and of course, hers is HCHIPP. She can also be found on iTunes, Barnes & Noble, Amazon.com, YouTube, Goodreads.com, LinkedIn, and Audible.com. Have I missed anything?
I don't.
That's a whole lot of places.
I don't think so. I know it confuses me.
I know, right? It's like you ever Google yourself and you're like, oh, my God, am I really at that many places? Because I've done that. I'm like, oh, my God, there's my name. It's all those. It's a little overwhelming, isn't it? It's a little like crazy.
It gets a little nuts. Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine that it does. But you know what, though? It's a good kind of nuts. You know what I mean? Because if you weren't busy and if you weren't being productive and passionate, it would probably not be as exciting and wonderful, you know. So it's just one of those things. Now, the last thing that I do on my show is to tell you what I think of you. And the reason that I do that, I always end my shows the same way, is I get to tell people what I think of them. And the reason for that is, first of all, I don't script this part, which means that it's genuine and it's real and authentic from my heart to the listening audience. They've never met you. They've never taught you. I haven't either. I've had the benefit of being able to, and they haven't. So these are just my impressions that I leave with the audience. So hopefully after they leave here, they'll reach out to you for one of your books, one of your services, and hopefully if I did my job right, you'll reach out again to come back on my program. So these are my thoughts of the illustrious Helen Hipp. I never knew anything about her until she came on the show. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, what I gravitate to more so than anything else is commonality, meaning that I always love to have clients or people that come on my show where I can share a commonality with them. In this particular case, this lovely young lady unfortunately had a child with an illness that's becoming more and more, we're becoming more and more cognizant of it, which I'm very excited about, which means we have more developments and more ways to help our children. But obviously what I have found is some of the strongest and most eloquent individuals are those that have had to survive tragedy of some sort, whether it's an illness, whether it's a loss, etc. And so, first of all, I commend you on just being a parent and being able to survive that experience. I further commend the fact that you've taken the time and the trouble to do this sort of work, not only work parent to parent, patient to patient, but the daily going on of I find it important to get my works, my writings, and my words out to other individuals. The fact that you keep trying so hard to do it in so many different platforms is amazing and it's inspirational. Further, you are so much nicer than what I was picturing, because I looked at your picture and I thought, oh my God, she's going to run me around until next week, Tuesday. I was a little scared. I was a little bit nervous, but you're pleasant and you're funny and you're charming and you have a sense of yourself and you have confidence, which I admire as well. I've enjoyed the time that we've spent together. I feel very grateful and very fortunate that Valerie reached out to me, and I would have hated to miss this opportunity. And I meant what I said. Please use my platform to come on anytime that you would like. Hopefully you will get to either Chicago, New York City, let's see, what's close to Vermont? Do you have a city that's neighboring close or a state?
Well, we've got Boston. It's fairly close.
Yeah, Boston may not be too bad. I don't get there much, but once in a great while. But my hope is, I should say, that my travels will get me somewhere to you, to which case I always love to meet fellow authors, and I love to come see them in person and shake their hand and say, thanks for being a part of my race, and thanks for being a part of this program and for introducing your work to the world. You should be appreciated and commended. And I feel very lucky today. So thank you for all that you brought to the show today.
Thank you for having me. Really, it's been a joy. Really a fun discussion. It's great. It's great. I try to distinguish my program from others and make it interesting and make it fun and make it, you're not sitting here saying, oh yeah, here we go with the
same question again.
Yeah.
I've been asked this
Yeah.
1,800 times, and you're like bored with it, right?
Yeah.
I like to be not boring. So I hope that I've done my job, and I hope Valerie,
you've done, not only done your job, you've done it well. It was very lively and engaging, and that's a two-way street. It's a two-way street. I would love to come on again.
Goodness. Yes.
So.
We like to hear the word yes. Just as long as you keep saying yes, definitely. And certainly, just to let you know, when you hang up, within 2 hours, I think it is, the episode becomes archived. So anyone can go back at any given point in time and listen to your show. And I'll certainly at some point get it onto hopefully Twitter in the near future, along with the show page, so that everybody can see this. And certainly, without a doubt, I want to reiterate one more time, August. Okay, it's January, Cindy. January 30th at the Williston Central School in Vermont, 6:30 to 8:30. You can catch her there. And, of course, when you hang up, we'll go through all those mediums one more time. And hopefully everybody will run out and buy a book, or at least an ebook version would be lovely. Certainly. So thank you, my dear. I hope I didn't take up too much of your time.
No, you didn't, and it was wonderful. It's a wonderful experience. I really had a great time. A great time.
Love it. We love it. We love it. We love it. That's awesome. We love to hear that. All right, my dear, I'll let you get to your afternoon. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.
You too. You too. Take care, and thank you so much.
Thank you, dear.
All right.
Wasn't that awesome? We finally got connected. I'm so excited because I was a little nervous there. Oh, I'm so glad Helen was satisfied. Again, let's go through the rundown one more time in terms of the 800 ways, and I do literally mean that, to find Helen Hipp. Again, she has a Facebook personal page and also Rosie the Hippo on Facebook. That's where you're going to find all the updates on the book. The two books, once again, Rosie and Friends, Positively Different, and, of course, her first book was A Different Kind of Safari. Now, again, so you can either go to the website, which is www.rosietheHippo.com. Otherwise, you can go ahead and purchase off of Goodreads, Amazon.com, Barnes & Nobles, iTunes, or Audible.com. Some of her work, again, can be seen on YouTube. She has a profile on LinkedIn. And as it relates to Pinterest, SoundCloud, and Instagram, they all have the exact same handle, which is Rosie the Hippo. Same thing with her Twitter handle. She also has a personal one, which is H and then CHIPP. And then her website for any and all counseling or presentations or any sort of a life coach atmosphere within the letter U, lifecoaching.com. So once again, my very deep thanks, obviously, to Helen for taking an hour to speak with me. I don't even know where to go with this except to say, Valerie, Pierre-Cadet, thank you so much. Every time it's been a joy. Continue sending your clients, if you will. I hope I did you proper justice by your client today. And to those, once again, I want to remind everybody, Social Minded Media Group is on Facebook and other platforms. Do look them up for any and all PR needs that you might have. One more time, reminder for tomorrow, 5:30 Central Standard Time. The lovely and talented Melinda Puckett will be coming on the show. 13-year-old sensation. Over 20 million views of her rendition of Adele's Rolling in the Deep. So please do turn in tomorrow. Thanks again, everybody, for listening, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
What you doing?
Ran out of space on my phone, so I'm deleting some stuff. Bye, singing dog. Bye, goal.
I pronounce you.
Bye, wedding ceremony.
Stop. At Metro PCS, you get 2 free phones with twice as much memory.
Really? Don't say bye to your memories. Switch to Metro PCS and get 2 free LG K20 Plus phones with 32 gigs when you switch 2 lines. Metro PCS. Wireless. Figured out. Coverage not available in some areas. Sales tax not included in phone price. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions.
What you doing?
Ran out of space on my phone, so I'm deleting some stuff. Bye, singing dog. Bye, goal.
I pronounce you.
Bye, wedding ceremony.
Stop. At Metro PCS, you get 2 free phones with twice as much memory.
Really? Don't say bye to your memories. Switch to Metro PCS and get 2 free LG K20 Plus phones with 32 gigs when you switch 2 lines. Metro PCS. Wireless. Figured out. Coverage not available in some areas. Sales tax not included in phone price. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions.